blog entry 104. And this one is from January, January 22nd of 2023. Overwhelmed by love, a Dallas transition. Lately I've been in Dallas, Texas, staying near the Krishna temple, working a bit outwardly, but mostly being worked on inwardly. Yeah, I was stopping there making gas money at the time in town before I headed out. In my meditation, the angels had continued their deep healing work, refining, reordering my inner systems. It's been touch and go. One of the hardest parts has been allowing the massive flood of divine love into my being. This love, so full, so pure, has been trying to wash away layers of wounding, karma, and ancient patterns. But my system has struggled to receive it. It was extremely overwhelming. And I know that sounds totally crazy, but it was just extremely overwhelming. Wow. Strangely, it began triggering what I felt like a full-blown PTSD response. It was really similar to that. Every time the angels and Krishna would pour that love into me, all my senses became overwhelmed. I instinctively would try to pull back, afraid, but instead of easing up, the angels would come together and intensify the flow, trying to break through the resistance by sheer force of love. So the more I would pull back, the more love they would send. It was like a river of love. It was just unbelievable. It escalated to a point where Krishna himself took me into his hand. I couldn't handle it. I curled into myself like a turtle, retreating into its shell. Krishna, in his infinite patience, told the angels that he had intentionally stepped back from directly responding to me for a while, hoping I would find trust and release the fear that had been holding me captive. I wasn't successful in this moment with that. It was still very much overwhelming, and yeah. More days passed. There were more inner skirmishes. Eventually, Krishna sent what felt like an aspect of my higher self, an alter ego, a more integrated version of me, to help navigate the stuckness. I think he was wearing orange, and I called him Orange Guy. Yeah. This part of me explained things in a way I could understand. Since up until then, I had felt totally lost in this process. All I knew was that I was being flooded with a love so intense, so unfamiliar, it had begun to terrify me. And so it took me a long time to figure this out. So in the material world, every time we have joy and bliss and happiness, there's an unhappiness that comes. If it's a little joy, it's usually like a little unhappiness. And they go hand in hand, pretty common. So what was happening was I've had so many material lives, and it's just so strong that when that much happiness comes, I automatically lock up, afraid that the unhappiness is going to come, or the pain is going to come, and the discomfort is going to come. And it's a huge river of love. I can't even describe that to someone. You almost just have to experience it. It's just unbelievable. So I'll go back to reading. So while I was in the angelic room, sitting in a kind of energetic chair, one of the beings listened to me explain everything. After I finished, he said, "Wow, you really weren't into that." It made me laugh. I finally felt heard. That moment of being seen helped move the blockage, the fear lifted, and the transition was able to continue. He explained that this was part of the transition into the subtle body, and that most beings don't resist divine love in this way. I guess most people don't struggle with it like that, and I guess it's not common. But for me, there was a deep buried fear. As a side note, during this transition, it feels as though you're submerged in water. Yeah, and if you try to leave, you'll quickly realize that the water is also what's keeping you safe. It holds you in the process until it's complete. So it's sort of like a protective bubble around you, because your energy system's open and they're reworking so much as you're moving into the subtle body that you're really susceptible to picking up weird, strange energies out and about and whatever. So you have to stay in the water, but the water is also the river of love that's purifying as well. It was a really wild experience, the way it came together that way. So I'll go back to it. And then something beautiful happened. The love worked, bit by bit, and resistance gave way. The wave of divine love that once overwhelmed me began to soften me instead. The flood that once triggered fear began to feel like a cleansing or like some type of baptism. I stopped fighting it. I let it in. The angels, still unified, still pouring that love through every crack and every shadow, stood with me in sacred silence. Krishna's hand didn't feel so large anymore. It felt like home. And the turtle inside the shell slowly emerged, blinking into the light of love. Too beautiful to describe. I'm deeply humbled. I know I made this process more difficult than it needed to be, but I also now know what it means to be carried, truly carried, by divine love when you can't carry yourself. This transition has changed me. The angels never gave up, Krishna never left, and the love I once feared has become the very thing that saved me. If you ever find yourself in a similar spiritual situation, first check in with Krishna or Radha or whatever version of God you connect with. And if they give you the inner nod to proceed, then trust. Like for me, Krishna said, trust the angels, trust the river of divine love, trust the people I send to help you in this meditation space when I transcend with them. Even if it floods your senses, even if it breaks down all your inner walls, know that it's Krishna's love at work. And when you finally let it in, you'll see it was never meant to drown you. It was always meant to set you free. And so, that was a wild transition. So that was a transition into the subtle body. And that was after that extensive purification that I've been talking about in the past few blogs. Yeah. All right, well, that's it for today. And thanks for tuning in. If you have a chance, like and subscribe to the channel. It's super helpful. And have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.